When it comes to basketball eras, we love to get the opinions of current or former great players. All it takes is one NBA legend to say something that goes against the predominant consensus among the basketball community, and now suddenly, his take has gone viral, as it simultaneously sparks many debates within basketball circles. Sometimes, the player didn't even have to be great, he just had to be a player. And for some reason, many people treat what that player said as gospel, even though there's many other players who claim the exact opposite. To a certain extent, I get it. Why would you want to ask anyone a question other than the person who's seemingly the most qualified individual? If I'm having problems with my toilet, I don't ask the opinion of an accountant, I ask the opinion of a plumber. Similarly, if I have a question about car problems, I don't ask the opinion of a psychologist, I ask the opinion of a mechanic. So naturally, people apply this same logic to sports. If you have a basketball question, you don't ask the fan with a regular job, you ask the basketball player. With this being the case, inevitably, whenever I have an opinion that goes against the opinion of a pro basketball player, some guy in the comments always has to come in with a triggered comment. Do you really think we should trust your opinion over an NBA legend? Yes. It's not that I think that I'm the ultimate authority on basketball takes. Absolutely not. But I think a lot of you viewers would have better and more trustworthy takes than many of these NBA legends. Why? Because there's no group who are more biased with their basketball takes than NBA legends talking about other NBA legends. This has been proven to be the case over and over again. Honestly, it makes sense that it would be this way. Just think about it. Me and you may love the game of basketball, but it doesn't necessarily define everything about us. We still go to an unrelated workspace, or school, or different hobbies. For the general basketball fan, in many ways, there's more to life than simply basketball. But this isn't really the case for the pro player. Basketball is their career. It's what pays for their home, it's how they feed their family, it's who they're associated with, it dictated who their friends were and who their enemies were, it defines their reputation, their legacy, and how they'll be remembered. When you consider all of these aspects, then it's no wonder why the player is more biased and more emotionally involved in the discussion than just about anyone else. Time to bring up some examples. Recently, NBA legend Dennis Rodman said that Larry Bird wouldn't be able to play in the modern NBA, and that he would instead be playing in Europe. Many people reacted strongly to this. Larry Bird fans went on a tirade, and younger fans tried to use this as evidence that the game is significantly better today. Now, as for my reaction, I wasn't surprised in the slightest, and I kinda just shrugged my shoulders. Remember, this is the same Dennis Rodman who said Larry Bird wasn't as good as advertised, and back in the 80s, he said that because Larry Bird was white, he was getting more praise than he would typically get. You have to understand, these guys were fierce competitors who hated each other. Night after night, they were at each other's throats, battling for supremacy over the Eastern Conference. Obviously, they didn't like each other. And do you really think Rodman would be saying these same criticisms about Larry Bird if he had been his teammate? Of course not. Let's look at another couple players from that same era. In The Last Dance documentary, Michael Jordan boldly and unapologetically stated that he hates Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons, and that hatred burns to this very day. On the other hand, you have guys like Bill Laimbeer and Isaiah Thomas who have publicly stated numerous times that they don't believe that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And then people act surprised and want to put stock in that. But why are we surprised? Their hatred for Michael is just like their hatred for them. Of course they're going to say this. These players have legendary levels of pettiness that is still strong 3 decades after they last competed against each other. Another player who played on those Pistons was Dennis Rodman, but this is what he had to say about Jordan's GOAT status.
Michael is the greatest player ever. If Michael played in this era, he'll average 50. He'll average 50 points. I don't know why you guys discuss the GOAT. Why you discuss the GOAT?
I agree.
So let me get this straight. Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas, and Dennis Rodman were all teammates on the bad boy Detroit Pistons. but only one of them happens to believe that Jordan is the GOAT, and it just happens to be the one guy who ended up being his teammate. Clearly, none of these players are impartial here. The list of examples goes on and on. Wilt Chamberlain once said that Shaq would have struggled in his era, and that Michael Jordan would have been coming off the bench. Obviously, this is an attempt to belittle them and exalt himself. Scottie Pippen often doesn't back Jordan's GOAT status like Dennis Rodman does. But unlike Pippen, Jordan and Rodman still have a tremendous brotherly love for one another. So again, why are we surprised? Why do we act like these claims are worth putting stock in? I know he's not a basketball player, but how about Skip Bayless? Anytime he opens his mouth about LeBron, it has to be taken with a major grain of salt. This man built his entire career, popularity, and income off of dissing LeBron. You think he's suddenly gonna stop? You, the viewer, have to come to these conclusions yourself, because you certainly can't trust these guys to do it objectively for you. Now, of course, just like some fans, some athletes can put their biases aside and give a truly honest take. But let's be real here. Those rare cases are few and far between. Just like with anything, these influences always need to be considered before you absorb something as gospel. I don't care if you're a scholar, a teacher, a doctor, a scientist, a pastor, a YouTuber, an athlete, or a basketball player. Not every person, but every kind of person is capable of being disingenuous. You always have to ask yourself, who pays them? What do they believe? Where do their allegiances lie? And what do they have to gain based on what they're telling us? When it comes to this video, I don't care if you're a LeBron guy, a Jordan guy, a Kobe guy, or even a nasty Celtics fan. Personally, I'm just trying to make money by posting videos on YouTube, and I'm just telling you to think critically when basketball players tell you how to observe the game. Because my belief is that if we can't have an honest conversation about the game of basketball, then it's not a conversation worth having. So what do you guys think? What's an NBA opinion that just screamed biased when you heard it? Feel free to use me as an example as well. It's not like I'm exempt. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.